Going on, people? Been a little minute since I've been on here solo, but I thought I'd come back strong with a something theoretical. As you see, the title to this show is biology versus breeding. Probably more correctly, probably a title probably would be biology into breeding. But either way, actually, I just wrote this show probably like an hour and a half ago. But this is all theory, this is all practice. I am just taking biological terms, um, and I'm just flipping them on the canine end. They don't necessarily apply or don't apply. It's just something I thought about. It's just giving people a new way to maybe create portfolios or programming notes, just giving you some new words, some new terms to use when you think and speak about your dogs and your program. Um, so, without further ado, let's start with one, the act of even building and naming things in nature and in science. Uh, the term for that is called nomenclature, and that basically is describing things in science. And in a sense, that's what we're doing now. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to start there, and that's the first definition that I want to work with, and then I want to go down the list. Another good title to keep in mind when listening to this and thinking about this or rewatching this or watching it for the first time is type specimens, and I'm going to define that. The number two definition I have on my list is type, because you hear that a lot. Motherfuckers always talking about type this, type that, type. So type, what is type by definition? By definition, and see, it's easier for me to just use the definitions online that you'll find when you look them up. That way, no one can say that I made something up, since we know that we have people out there today that say that, standards and morals and values and all that stuff don't really matter. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because that all kind of falls into this. But the definition of type is a catalog um, of things. So a catalog is basically, you could define it as a plethora, a basket, many things, more than one, a catalog of things that have common characteristics. Very simple, cut and dry. That's what type means. A catalog of things that have common characteristics, right? So number three is breed. Breed, of course, we all hear that every day, all day long. Everybody talks about breed. Breed this, breed that, purebred, half breed, quarter bred. Hey, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, breed is a stock of animals, right? A stock, kind of like a catalog, much like a catalog, a stock of animals and or plants. Yes, we have breeds of plants as well. Within a species. So let me go back. A breed is a stock of animals and or plants within a species. So when you hear boas, and then you have all these different types of boas, or when you hear Canis familiar, now you have all these different types of breeds of Canis familiar, or carp, and then you have the goldfish, and whatever, or marijuana strands, same thing. So a breed is a stock of animals and or plants within a species having a distinctive, again, what did type say? Common and distinctive appearance, and typically having been developed by deliberate selection. So it's pretty much saying the same thing as type: common characteristics, distinctive appearance. But here, breed, it says at the end, where it sets itself off, is being developed by deliberate selection, right? So number four, species, right? Species. We all have heard the word species. Most of these words you're gonna know up until I switch over. Species, a group. There we have it again, a stock, a catalog. A group. So we have three different words. This is how the English language is so artificial, and it's such a useless language because we have so many words that describe the same things because so many people are dissatisfied and everybody wants their own definition of this, that, and the other. Everybody's pretty much trying to get the point across differently, but I need mine to be better. Sound familiar? It's like social media. Yeah, he said it over here, but I'm going to say the same thing my way and make sure that it sounds better and it looks better. And then here comes the next guy to do it over and over again. So, number 4, species, a group of living organisms. There it is again. Same thing, a group of living organisms consisting of similar, there it is again, individuals capable of exchanging genes or interbreeding. So you got species, breed, and type. I mean, I could have defined stock. I could have defined catalog. I could have defined group. I could have defined organism. All those things, and it all would have collapsed back down. I don't want to say collapse, but it all would have fell in line back down on those same words and definitions because they're all pretty much the same thing. It's just, one's a little more technical, one's a little less technical, and then everything else in between, right? So the 5th word that I want to talk about is a very important word because this applies to anybody who is actually actively doing something, and that is the word author. Author. In legal discourse, an author is the creator. Creator. That applies to everything we just said. Obviously, I'm going to prove that. The creator of an original work, that has been published, whether that work exists in written, graphic, visual, or recorded form. Remember, I told y'all, take notes, video record. Just said it, author. The act of creating such a work is referred to as authorship. Everybody want to be a breeder, right? I'd rather be an author than be a breeder. It sounds better to me, since everybody is, it's like everybody's got the hottest dog, but none of those dogs are actually hot. Like, bring a hot dog out and prove him out, test him out. Let's see what he can do. I'd rather have a higher title that means the same thing in a sense, but gives me more definition, and it looks like I have a more thought out. I thought more about what I'm doing than just using the same words that everybody else is doing, following the leader. And saying that you can't be a leader and follow a motherfucker at the same time. So that's why I'm doing this, just to give you a way to, if you choose to separate yourself from the commercial people, from the mainstream, I'm giving you some new words to use. These words have always been around. I didn't make these words up. Like I said, I am simply creating something. I am the author of what we are doing right now. I created this shit. So if anybody else comes along later on and tries to say that, because I know that this does not exist, what I'm getting ready to do in the form that I'm getting ready to do it. So I am the author of this. And I'm, like I said, I'm giving y'all the same type of empowerment to have these new words, man. Get out here, separate yourself from the rest of these cronies and these clowns. So number 6, here's a one. Everybody loves this one. Program. That's a very important one because everybody's talking about their program, my program, my program, my program. You know what I mean? It's like my Adidas, I guess, my program. So a program, listen to this one, right? A program is a set of related measures and or activities, with a particular long-term aim, which that's a perfect word for dog breeding if you're actually going to do what that definition said. It's a set of related measures or activities with a particular long-term aim. Dog breeding has to be constant, right? Or you'll lose it. If you don't keep up with your environment, if you don't keep up, we've already seen it. Perfect examples: English Bulldog, the Bull Terrier, Rottweiler, Doberman. I mean, all these, almost any breed. You go back in the early 18th centuries on, and you can see it. You can see how when you ship the dog to another country and the environment changes, the dog changes with it. It has to. It's a soft gene animal. I already did that podcast. So if you're not consistent with it, then you're going to lose it. We know that. And obviously we know that there are ways to be consistent, different types of breeding, but it's not just about breeding, because the environment, again, that's another podcast that's already been done. That is extremely important. You can't create a guard dog in a marshmallow environment. I don't care, bro. I don't care what these morons are telling you out here. You cannot. They don't have guard dogs. They don't have game dogs. They don't have none of that stuff. And you can't even, bro, you can't even really advertise that you have a game dog, depending on what kind of game dog we're talking about. And then at the same time say dogs are not sold for any illegal purposes. Okay, so then you got to take that off. This is where I'm going with this from now on. I don't know how much more content you'll get from me, but at this point, I'm just trying to disrupt the system the best way that I can, because it's all bullshit. It's all industry. It's all, it's like I saw a guy on Instagram yesterday, a well-known guy, and he had 4 different dog breeds. And I guarantee you they're all getting fed the same diet. One, because that's what's convenient and that's what's cheaper and that's what makes sense logically to the average person. But if I have 4 different breeds from 4 different parts of the world that have come from 4 different people, 4 different programs, how could I feed them the same thing? It's also like when you go to someone's page and they tell you, they're like, oh, all their dogs are like one price. You got to be careful with that, especially when they're doing a lot of talking. Some people are just like, hey, I feel that with what I'm doing on my program, this is a good number for my dog. And those people are generally quiet. They're just, they're breeding dogs for people who want a nice dog for their home. We're never talking about those people. But anyway, programming, right? So we said, if you don't continue to breed your dog, you lose it properly. You'll lose it, or it'll turn into something else. Look at the bull terrier, muzzle over time does this, because that's what happened. The environment changed. Could the muzzle do this? Of course it can. Just nobody's trying to do that because the demand for the dog wants this right now. So nobody gives a shit if they could improve the dog by changing the environment and then basically revamping the structural problems in the dog. It could be done easily, but they're going to make money that way, at least until someone wants the dog or there's a demand for it. So anyway, number 7, kennel. Here's a good one too. Kennel. I like this one too. Kennel. Because everyone's like, oh, I'm a kennel. I have a kennel. I got a kennel. I'm a kennel. Well, simply, a kennel is just a shelter or a place for a dog and a cat, put simply. Number 8, breeder. Breeder, of course, because everybody's a breeder now, right? Everybody's a breeder. Breeder, a person that breeds, obviously. But a breeder can also be in particular animal that breeds. It can also be a period of breeding, like you have winter breeding, spring breeding, fall breeding, summer breeding. Standard, this is a good one. This one's number 9 is a good one. Standard, a level of quality, a level of quality, and they're levels. Because even having no standards or not wanting standards is still a form of standards. Your standard is you just don't care. So a level of quality, right? Or idea or thing used to measure, used or accepted. A standard, that's another definition. Something that's used and accepted. It's standard. That's standard. This is standard. This is standard. Because you got people now who are like, oh, standards don't matter. There's no such thing as purity, while they're selling you a purebred dog with a name. Like, how do you, if standards don't matter, then I can just call my canine dog or bitch. It doesn't even need a name at that point because there's no standards. But standards aren't just about the height of a dog and the weight of a dog and the color of a dog. And those things are important, obviously, because someone took the time and they thought about it and then they applied it. But standards are also about the morals and the values of the breeder. And so if you got people out here telling you, fuck the standards, they don't want to deal with standards, they basically are telling you, you are what you eat, bro. Like, they don't like standards because, Yeah. So you probably shouldn't eat at their house, which means you probably shouldn't buy a dog from them either. A lot of guys don't want standard just because they bought dogs and then the DNA test came back something else, but they've already invested all this money into their kennel. Um, and so what they're trying, there's two things that are happening. So what they're trying to do is sell you the dog as a purebred, right? And hope that by the time you get the dog, maybe it's been bred out or you don't catch it or you don't DNA test the dog. But then you do DNA test the dog and then you come back and approach him about it. And then they're going to start telling you about some chick and her breed back program and how that's okay as an excuse for them to basically fuck you over in your face. That's what that's about. Because how do you say there is no standard or there is no purity when you are selling a dog by name? So someone called you because they wanted a pit bull or a Doberman or a Rottie or a Burble or a Connie Corso or a Presa. That's why they called you, right? Those dogs that I just named, any dog that I just named, couldn't even exist without a standard. The standard has nothing necessarily to do with the show. That was given to the show. Remember, the show didn't create the standard. The person who if I create my breed of dog, I had to use something to get there. So you're basically telling me that all my work, my morals, my values, my standards, none of that stuff doesn't matter. Because for two reasons. One, either you bought a shitty version or phenotype. That's another thing. If you go somewhere and you buy dogs and you're already in your mind counting on bringing in another breed of dog to fix your dog, so you bought a broken dog? Come on, man. Quit playing games with these people out here. You bought a broken dog and now you're going to bring another dog in to fix it, but you really don't want anybody to know unless you get caught. That's what's happening. So that's a part of this whole podcast. That's only one part. I guess I want to go down those definitions because you can't say those things and then you're taking your dog somewhere to a show to be judged. The standards don't matter. Then what are they judging your dog against then? I'm not saying I'm for or against standard. What I'm saying is someone created something and they wrote a blueprint, which was the standard. And then they attached it to that dog and they said, this is, we want the dog to be about this way, that way, that way. They didn't say that a dog 20 pounds over, 20 pounds under couldn't be a good dog. They just said our ideal dog or cat or horse or plant is this. This is where we got the best results. That's what the standard is for, to give you the best results. If you can make the dog bigger, smaller, and then still functional, that's good for you. That's just another phenotype. But they set a standard for what they needed at the time. Cool. But here you come along, $25,000 on purebred dogs, 2-3 years in. Purity's not a thing. There's no such thing as a purebred dog. So why didn't you just buy a bunch? Oh, that's right. Because in the beginning, there were purebred dogs until you found out that your dogs weren't actually pure. So now there are no more purebred dogs and purity's not a thing because in the beginning, like they say in the beginning, Yahweh created. That's the whole thing. In the beginning, your creation was perfect, and then you started finding out it wasn't so perfect. I hear it all the time. Oh, somebody sold me this. I did a DNA test. The dog was 43% such and such and such. So they owe me, 57% of a dog. Some people sucked it up and they kept it, and some people didn't. They went public. Everybody did something different, but don't try to make money off of people by lying to them and then trying to say, oh, don't worry about the standards. Don't worry about this. So when your dog is 400 pounds and he can't do anything, that's fine because you told them there's no standard. So their standard was they wanted to make the biggest dog possible because the person I bought this dog from said it doesn't matter what you do with the dog. It doesn't matter because we don't have any standards here. So that's enough about not having standards. It's like I said, the standard also deals with you. It ain't just about the dog. I don't know too many fucked up people that do nice things. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So anyway, Let's jump into some of these biology terms. And the first term is holotype. In biology, I explained what type, we talked about type specimen already, but type specimen is a specific individual. Listen to this closely: a specific individual or item that has been designated as a reference point. I'm going to read that 3 times. A type specimen is a specific individual or item designated as a reference point for a new species or other object examples, but explicitly designated as the holotype. A type specimen is a specific individual or item designated as a reference point for a new specimen or excuse me, or other object examples, but explicitly designated as the holotype. In parentheses, I have holotype would only come from the original line and or breeder of the choosing of the dogs and bitches that should exhibit or represent the breed based on standard. Because how are you going to pick the dog if you don't know what it's supposed to be doing, or if you don't know anything about it? If I don't have a standard, how can I explain to you what I have? So a holotype, in a sense, generally is a specimen that they collected from the wild. It's the first one that they found, the holotype. And this is, like I said, like it says here, it's a reference point that they always refer back to. So think about that in canine terms, in the canine world, a holotype. What dogs and bitches would be the holotypes? Like I just said, those would be the ones you start with, that the author, the original. This is your reference point. This is where you're going. So I'm looking for my holotypes. This is where I want to go. These dogs are going to be my reference point. So again, these would be canines that you could use to start a new line, your line. So when you go to your breeder for your pressas or your alibis or your whatever, that they have the holotypes that you are going to purchase and then use to create your lines. Isotype. Isotype is a duplication of the holotype. Duplication. That's a very important word. Words matter. Duplication of the holotype. In canines, honestly, I don't believe that this is really possible, or with mammals in general through just normal breeding. Without cloning, I just don't see. Without some scientific advancement, it's not possible. You see this in plants, you see this in insects, you even see this in reptiles. And plants, they're cloning, and like you can do this at your house. You can get a plant and you can get the tissue kit sample from Amazon, and you can grow weed or whatever from tissue samples. That way you're getting the same exact results from that plant every single time, rather than taking a seed from the mother, because one, that's going to be a different phenotype, or even taking a clone, which even then can flip phenotypes on you. They say it's not possible, but I've proven that it is in my own grows. I've taken clones from cuttings, from clippings, and they have flipped just crazy shit. I'm not even going to get into it because we're not talking about that. But so the isotype is literally a clone. Reptiles do this. There are species of reptiles that at certain points, and cannabis does this as well. Other plants do this as well. When they come towards the end of their cycle, their life cycle, the female cannabis plant will start to try to self-pollinate. Generally, those seeds aren't fertile. Even at least in the cases that I've had that happen, none of those seeds have ever been fertile, but that is like a survival mechanism. There are reports of reptiles that do the same thing, female cobras and other snakes that lay eggs, and they're only female because they're genetic clones. It's called parthenogenesis or asexual reproduction, and that's not possible with a canine. It's not happening. If it is, show me an example of it, because I don't know. And even if it is, you're not going to be able to do it, and that would just be some rare mutation that happened out of nowhere, but it's nothing consistent. So an isotype, even through inbreeding, it's not going to happen. because one, that program is going to collapse on itself. I mean, you can look at Chico Lopez and how all his dogs, they all look the same. He has all those red noses, but they're still individual phenotypes that can still be separated genetically. Isotypes are clones. So just to give a little bit more about asexual reproduction, and parthenogenesis is, like I said, it's a form of asexual reproduction where a female's egg cells develop into an embryo without being fertilized from a male, never being around a male. I know that this has happened to guys I know that had endo-spitting cobras, never been with a male, they don't even own a male of the species. And every so often she'll throw a clutch of clones. So without being fertilized by sperm from a male, seen in reptiles, amphibians, these animals are clones of the mother. Some of this is my account. I've seen this in cannabis as well, of plants in the late flowering stage. And at this point, a plant should have been pulled. So it is its survival instinct to keep itself going, i.e. self-fertilization. Lectotype. It's a specification designated as a name or nomenclature type to when there is no holotype present by the author, by the writer. So this would be a canine of the same class or breed that falls closely within the standard that comes from the designated breeder or author's choosing. It's got to be on the same property, but not necessarily of the same bloodline, and definitely not of the same pairing. But it still falls, like it says, because of what lectotype is. It is a replacement when there is no holotype. So this is basically your backup dogs for your dogs and your bitches. Your lectotypes would be your backup. They're gonna fall as closely as possible to what your program is supposed to be. So if you don't have any standards, how do you do that? How do you do that without standards? Like too much of anything and too less of anything is bad for you. You know what I mean? So standards are supposed to keep those things in check. Obviously, we know that things can go a little bit over. That's what we call that give or take, push and pull. We know that everything is not always going to be perfect. We understand that. It's so funny, bro. You know how I know it's a bunch of bullshit and mutts and all this crazy garbage with all these trash dogs and trash breeders and trash trainers out here is because now everybody has a problem with the things that actually built and defined the animal world. Now it's a problem. All these things are now a problem, but you still will feed your dog shit dog food every day. And like, I don't understand, like I was saying earlier, it's like, I don't understand how some people can do so much talking and then have the same about how their dogs are, and they don't even grade the puppies that come out their yard because it's a $4,000 price tag no matter what. Even if your dog got hip dysplasia, it's still gonna be $4,000 no matter what. There's no grading system because I guess there wouldn't be a grading system. Why do you need grades if you ain't got no fucking standards? Duh. So a sign type is a specimen cited in the original description, again, when no holotype was available. So what this would be in the canine world, like this would be a canine with no traceable lineage, but directly of the breed. So a DNA test would prove that it is a Presa Canario or it is a Cane Corso. So, i.e., a dog with no registration or no papers, however, that maybe that dog was born with no papers, or maybe that dog, the papers were lost or whatever. But that's what that would be. A sin type would be a dog that is of the same breed, standard everything, but it just has nothing traceable about its background other than that genetically it is what it's supposed to be. Neotype, obviously it's what it sounds like. Neo is a Greek word for new. Neon, bright, new, or neotype. It's a new type designation when all materials, now this is going to go two ways, when all materials from the original type are missing. So any canines produced and or reproduced through a scatterbred or line breeding program could fall in a neotype to an extent. This could also be used in a recreation process or a breed, but not a breed restoration process. So if you want it like they did, like, so the presses that you see right now, the Cane Corsos, but not the Burble. Any dog that has actually been reconstructed is a neotype that would fall into this definition, because it said when all the original materials are missing. They didn't have all the original materials to make a presser. Not the original dog. Or anything like, but a Burble was a reconstruction. The the Burble is a restoration. The Cadebo is a reconstruction. So it's a neotype Cadebo, a neotype Presa Canario, a neotype Cane Corso. So that's what your neotypes are. A paratype, and this one paratype is not talked about a lot, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because it does exist. A paratype is a specimen other than the holotype that is cited in the original description of a new species. So, in parentheses, this would be designated to a second closely related canine of the same breed and at least possibly of the same partial DNA. So, in so many words, this would be a second example of your holotype or the reference point that falls closely within the standard. And if there are no standards, how are you going to pinpoint your reference point? How are you going to know where to start? If I start writing if I want to come up with a recipe for lobster salad, I know I need lobster, or I know salad, but what kind of greens do I want? Mexican mix? Do I want Mabuna or Mazuna? No, that's real shit. Mabuna and Mazuna are real greens. Go look them up. Do I want spinach? Do I want chard? Do I want arugula? Do I want purple kale? Because I got to figure this out. Do I want it to have a crunch? What kind of dressing? Do I want any fruits? Do I want any vegetables? And then when I figure out all the little elements, then I start putting it together. When I got to figure out a dressing too. I got to figure out the dressing, right? And then I also got to figure out the plating, because that's all a part of, the presentation, because the presentation is a part of the standard, because the standard is a presentation, which is why when they made the standard, they handed the standard over to the show so that the dog could be presented in the show. I don't know why people have such a problem with dog shows now. I mean, pretty soon people are going to have a problem with just like you walking your dog down the street, if that's the case. But it's like I said, like all the elements that created this, now they're trying to destroy them. And the only reason that someone would try to do that is because they don't respect that. They don't respect guidelines, boundaries. They don't have morals and values of their own. I mean, look, bro. Yeah, all y'all saw me expose a dude for doing exactly what we're talking about right now. And clearly he's gonna continue doing what he's doing. Those are his dogs. He can do what he wants to do with them, but unfortunately, it's not really how things work. Even though I said that. Yeah, you can do what you want to do with them, but you need to keep that shit on your property, or you need to change the name of that. Especially if there's no standard. If there's no standard, then your breed doesn't have a name, then you can't call it that, and then you just say that you have dogs and bitches for sale. Like, that's my point. And I think a lot of people might have took that the wrong way, and I want to explain this or not. Like, I don't know that nigga personally. I don't give a fuck about that nigga or his personal life. That was about animals. And so that's the reason I said, and the reason I'm doing this now, and the reason I do any content is because I've been on the side of that buyer that's bought a dog that wasn't what it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? And that's not cool. It's not fun. And it's different when the breeder didn't know that, then that's fine. I can't blame them for that. But you got guys doing this shit to you on purpose. And these guys got all type of people following them and listening to them, and they're relaying that same dumbass information. And as long as I'm here doing this shit, anytime I hear somebody say something stupid, I'm gonna make a video about it. I don't care who you are. And don't invite me on your show because you think that I'm taking personal stabs on people, because I don't know these people personally. And I will expose you on your own shit live too. So be careful when you want me to come on your stuff, because I'm here for me and the animals first, and then we can talk shit second. That's pretty much it for what I had to do. So I'm going to do a little bit, a quick like question and answer, because it's only 40 minutes. I told Joe that's what we were going to do, the little combo show, because this was like a topic. So if I had done this on my own, it probably only would have went for about 20-25 minutes. But I haven't really been looking at all the comments. But I do want to take some questions and concerns, or what people see going on, or any just anything. So what does he say? He says, "Can linguistics let us down in the breed standards?" Yeah, but that's man, bro. That's not the breed standard, bro. We got to get off of that. That's the breed. If I lay $100 bill down on the table right here, it's not going to do anything until somebody comes and gets it. So if someone doesn't understand how to use the standard, and in my opinion, then they probably shouldn't be breeding dogs, because the standard also starts with, like I said, there's morals and values. Who are you buying your dogs from? He says like, oh, well, would you say, on the word of the standard that declined heavily? Is it really on the word of the standard, or is it on the word of the person you bought your dog from telling you there are no standards, or this is the way to go and you have to do it this way, rather than telling you, hey, you just heard what I said. The standard is a guideline. And I just said there is give and take in the standard. You see, that's why I said that. So that you wouldn't have to ask questions like that, or say, or make comments like that, because there is always going to be, nothing is going to be perfect. Even when you write a standard, I can make 100 salads. I've done it at a restaurant, the same salad 100 times on the plate. And you might think that they look identical, but I know that they don't, because I know the standard. No matter how much I move them, it's just not, it's not possible. But the trick is, as long as that dressing is right and made every time, if you got a recipe and you following it, how can you fuck it up? The standard is telling you the dog is best functional here. But can a dog function 10 or 15 pounds over or lighter? Yes. They didn't say that it couldn't. It said, but if you want to go to the show and present yourself, this is what you need to look like. If anybody's been to a dog show, we're talking about, you go to the show, they just run the dog around the circuit. The dog doesn't do anything. It's not supposed to do anything there. You're supposed to see the dog as close. I don't know how many fucking times I got to say this shit. The dog at the show is a representation of the dog in its most purest, raw, best form. It's like, it's why it's called a show. The bodybuilders, when they go, they lift out, they have a standard. They have to know when to be able to stop. The dogs don't breed themselves. Stop blaming the standards. Blame yourself. Just say you don't know how to breed shit. That's all you got to say. I'll show you. If you don't know how to gauge when your dogs are going to get bigger or smaller, then you don't know your animals. It ain't got shit to do with relying on the standard, because the standard was basically for you to go to the show with this immaculate dog. Nobody wants to see a dog with his ear hanging off from a hog hunt. We know you do that, but nobody wants to see that in the show. If you come into if the server comes out with your food and this shit's all tattered and whatnot, or if you walk into a restaurant and they don't have no standards and the host's got a titty out, I don't know, some of y'all nasty niggas might like that shit. Go in there and suck up on the titty as soon as you see it. And some of y'all like that shit because y'all ain't got no standards. That's why y'all so against standards. So you walk into a restaurant, you see this host there. She smells like shit. Her hair isn't combed. Her teeth are all fucked up because she ain't brushed them. You gonna eat there? Because they ain't relying on no standard. So you telling me We just eliminate standards, everything is going to be perfect. Yeah, you'd say that until a minor in your family gets assaulted by somebody older than her. Then we're going to really be talking about standards. People, standards exist for a reason. Get over it. Just get over it. Like and Kyan, and right, that's some true shit what Kyan just said. Yeah, it's all, the standards are fine as long as they work for you. As soon as they don't work for you anymore, now people want to get rid of that stuff. You treat your kids and your husband and wife the same way. Oh, here this nigga go right here. Define purity. Here, I'll just look it up for you. That way you don't have to make it up. Because we know you don't like standards. So let me just look purity up. Or if you know, because you know it all, go ahead and tell me. Well, one, because you would be looking up the meaning of pure. So it says not mixed or adulterated with any other substance or material. That's what it means, Jordan. So what you got your own dumbass definition that you done made up? You out there making, as I know, like people like to do that stuff. Purity generally refers to a state of being free from contamination. But I guess I don't care, bro. Don't buy your borables from Exotic Borable because it's probably not a fucking borable. Because this nigga just asked me to define purity. Like he don't know what purity really means. That's a scammer, bro. And like I said, Jordan, this ain't personal, but I live here, bro. You just on a field trip. Like a lot of these motherfuckers. I live here. I live and breathe this every day, bro. Animals every day. This is my job, bro. I don't go off to a factory. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a pilot. I don't flip burgers. Me being a chef, that was a hobby. Architecture school, that's just because my family owns an architecture company and a real estate law firm. I don't do none of that stuff anymore. I've been doing the same thing ever. So look, this man always saying the same thing that I just said. Standard is a guy. They are not. I literally just said that, bro. You don't listen, man. Did I not just say that a standard is a guideline and there is room for push and pull? You see, that's what happened when you got a big ass head, but ain't nothing in it. And you want to come in here like, bro, don't make me end this show early, man. Asking, if you're going to ask me some questions, ask some real questions. Don't ask stupid shit, dude. Don't waste my time, man. Because me and you know you don't want to debate me. So just knock it off. Take out your notepad and take some notes, my dude, because that's literally what you need to be doing. You only live a couple hours from me. I can school you in person if you want. Because what you doing is, I don't care. 70,000 followers don't mean nothing, bro. That don't mean nothing. I've been doing this longer than you. When I'm dead and gone, the shit that I did 20 years ago will still be going on. Nobody will give a shit about Exotic Burble. Trust me on that. So you should have known as soon as you opened your mouth, I was going to say something. Talking about define purity. Come on, bro. We got any real questions in here? He said it's a man-made idea, a construct. You need standards to construct. Yo, bro. You ever heard of the ANSI standards? Of course not. You're not an architect. I am, though. The ANSI standards are the standards that you need in order to build a house so that it can be approved before a motherfucker can go live in it. Hey, if Jordan ever starts building houses, y'all, don't buy from him because he ain't gonna follow the standards. You're gonna die. You and your whole family are gonna die on his property. It's a man-made. We all know that Canis Familiar in its state now is man-made. But in order for me to get my Rottweiler, I had to have a process, my dude. I had to sit down and think. I know you probably don't really do that. I had to sit down with paper, my homies, and we talked about it. Like, man, okay, well, what if we do this? And we did that and we saw that. Remember that one day it did this, but those 50-pound dogs, oh, they were doing that. What about those 70-pound dogs we had? Yeah, I don't know, man, but those 75-pound dogs, I think that might be the way to go. So if we can, that's how it's done, my dude. You don't do that. One, you've never created anything. You're working off another man's stuff. So, you've never created anything on your own, which is why, like I said, you are so against purity and standards, then why the hell do you have a purebred dog? Why are you talking about purity and all this stuff? Why you sell borables? Call it something else then. Clearly, dogs must not be pure. Because I don't understand, if I got a purebred dog, why would I be worried about my dog not being pure and what everybody else is doing if my dogs are the shit and my stuff is what it's supposed to be? I wouldn't be worried about that. So that lets me know, bro, you're a fraud out here. And go ahead and go make a video about me. That's what you got. That's what I expect y'all to do. How you think I get more content? You can't touch me, though. That's the whole thing, bro. I know what you're trying to do. Just like you tried to do on that live. You wanted Joe to give you my number so you could call me to see how smart or how dumb I was compared to you. But I'm so much smarter than you, I knew not to even call your dumb ass. and then I just exposed you on again. Like, bro, stop talking, bro. If it was up to me, you wouldn't even have dogs. You come cut my fucking grass. That's what you can do. He said we can get at it right now, bro. You don't want to get at. You can't even tell people I'm emotional, bro. This is my channel. I got on here tonight to rant. I saw you almost cry like a baby on our live, bro. Come on now. Let me talk. And then your fan club came in backing it up for you, bro. Like, come on, man. You're just like he don't want, bro. I can't debate with a moron, bro. I can't debate with somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. This nigga, he won't even, he's not even listening. He's repeating the same thing that I already said. It's like the last time when Muhammad told him, like, bro, Rain even tried to help your dumb ass. Bro, you cannot fuck with me on this. I am an animal biologist, my dude. You're just a nigga from Cleveland that got dogs. Lay it down. You're never going to touch me on this, bro. There is no debate. We already did that, and you failed when you tried to sneak a debate in, and I crushed you. Sit your ass down, man. Go talk to your woman or something. Talking about somebody emotional. Mr. Smarty Pants. Come on, bro. Oh, my goodness, bro. This dude's a joke. You just mad because you knew I was going to be talking about you tonight. Because, bro, you keep making dumbass content, bro. Like, of course, anybody who knows less than Jordan is going to think Jordan is smart. That's how the government gets you, because they know more than you do. It's easy. If I know more about reptiles and everybody in this chat, I could tell y'all anything right now and you'll believe it, because you don't know no better. How you think a nigga like that gets 70,000 followers? Come on, man. I don't even want, you got 70,000 followers. You don't even know all them people. I wouldn't even want that many followers. For what? I can barely keep up with the 1,200 and the 200 messages I got a day in my thing. Come on, man. Come on, you want to debate? You ain't got no points. You really want to debate with me? And you got to show me some real work, my dude. Some real work. I want to see a fucking outline before I debate you, because I'm gonna make you look like a clown either way. Somebody else can pick the topic. I don't even need to. I'll go on any topic, but it's going to be a real scheduled debate with some real topics and a mediator. Because just like everybody told me, you be out interrupting people on other podcasts too. So don't get mad when somebody finally did it to your ass. Oh, hide the throw the rock and hide the hand ass nigga. If your brain worked, you'd be trying to learn from me, trying to challenge me because you think you're smarter than me, bro. Trust me. You want me to go get my IQ test? I'll go get it. Yeah, exactly. Average, because he probably bought half of them. So, bro, come on, Jordan. You better go play with one of your fan clubs, man. Do we got any real questions? We got any real questions from any real breeders in here, bro, that really know what the fuck they're talking about? Because that nigga is a joke. You not ready to go, bro. You don't have nothing. How you ready to go on a show you don't even know nothing about? You just learned what a holotype was today. Nigga, you just learned what a type, and everything you heard today, you just learned for the first time. Like I said, nigga, I'm gonna give you a week to prepare, and I'll have Joe pick the topic. It ain't gonna be nothing breed specific. Because yeah, you probably do know more about the burble than me, except for how to pronounce it, which is sad. So, but bro, now, bro, you're gonna need some time, bro. Don't try to stick your chest out, bro, tonight, because you're not ready. You're never gonna be ready. I know you a man, you dick hard right now, probably, because I'm clowning you in front of these people. So you want to get on here. It's just gonna be worse for you tonight than it's gonna be when we giving you preparation. So, but this is my show, so you're gonna do it my way. See, Jordan exotic Borable don't got no say so over here. So it ain't no give me the link. If I wanted you to have the link, I would have already told Joe to get. I could have texted Joe and gave it to you, nigga. You don't run shit. You barely running things in your own house. Fuck out of here. I told you what it is. I give you a week next Sunday, and it better be worth my time. That's what niggas want to see anyway. Like I told Joe, bro, I'm having a hard time even finding people to talk to. Because there's too many Jordans out here. Thinking that they know what the fuck. Just because you go buy a dog, bro, that don't mean shit. You know how many motherfuckers open restaurants up and then when in the first year they're closed down because they don't know what they're doing. And dog breeding itself isn't that hard, but you gotta have standards and morals and values in order to keep a program running. This nigga gonna ask what's purity like it's some other definition for it. Bro, you gotta be dumb as hell to come on a live and ask a dumbass question like that. I got smarter roaches than you. He said, that's my boy too, Dave. He said he wasn't even. No, trust me, it's a lot of pages like that. Their likes don't match their followers, man. Well, like I said, man, I just wanted to give people I just wanted to do something for y'all that niggas like Jordan could never do for y'all. You know, give y'all a new way to think, to separate your stuff. Separate yourself from men like that, bro. Use what I just showed you today. Let them niggas use that old stuff. They trying to fuck everything up anyway. So let them do it. Because in the end, what does he say? Well, I got a whole two podcasts on that, bro. I don't want to go back and repeat that. I literally have that show on 2 different channels, about 5 hours worth of content with charts. So you can go to the Animals at Home podcast and watch it there. The links are in my my Instagram, or you can go to the Reptiles and Research podcast and watch it there. Trying to keep progressive. That's why I did what I'm doing today. So we talk about all that stuff there. Plus, that was more like a new topic and not really a question. But not that was a bad question, but like I said, I've just already done it. Jordan, where your videos at on breeding? Where your scientific videos at on running programs and your charts and all that stuff at? Where's all your stuff at? Because all I ever do is see you looking like you looking through a goldfish bowl. Talking about I'm emotional. Boy. But you trying to sell somebody something else that it's not while telling them that it's something that it's not while not wanting to follow. Like it's so crazy what you're doing. I can't even make sense of it. Like I said, bro, if that nigga start building houses, bro, do not buy from him. You're going to die in that piece. Because he says standards, purity. None. Hey, did you see the Borable show? Did anybody see that Borable show that they did? I think Gerald was there. I watched it. Man, every single one of them dogs looked different. I saw dogs that were ticked. I saw a blue dog, black dog. I saw all kind of crap. That's what I saw. I saw a whole bunch of garbage. I ain't see Jordan there though. I didn't, because I thought he would have been there. Because he the man. So I thought for sure I would have saw him, but I didn't see him there. Oh man, these niggas gonna make me buy a puppet. But yeah, no, bro. There's a lot of breeds and breeders that dogs I've never seen their dogs do anything. But yeah, Burbles, I'll be honest, I've never seen that dog do nothing. I've never seen a dog. He said more fleshed out breeds, for example, than the American Bully. Well, here's the thing, and that's what I was saying. That's people. That's exactly what I said. That's people that do that. The standard is fine the way it is. Any logical human being knows that you're not going to get. There's no way you're going to produce dogs that are going to. If you ever get a dog that literally falls 100% into the standard, bro, like come on, it's possible. But how often does that happen? You're getting dogs anywhere from like 80 to 95%, right? But in most cases, as long as it's not in excess, the show will let the dog in as long as it's not in excess or too less. So yeah, it's man. Look, man is the problem, bro. Man is the problem. The dog, if the Samurai Uruguayo can create itself without man, a functioning, healthy dog without the hand of man at all, then that tells you that the standard ain't the problem. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, the Borables, man, because that dog I've seen it gradually get bigger. And even my homegirl in South Africa, when I was asking her about the pronunciation of the name, she even said that she knows that they crossed those dogs with another breed. She just didn't know what dog it was. But she was like, yeah, a lot of those dogs, they're not like the ones I used to see growing up. They're not like as functional as they used to be. They're all pretty big and they all have a lot of health problems now. So and so Working Man Massive said that Borable. And see, well, that's the thing. Like we need more people that are saying this and that are actually doing it. And not just with Burbles, but with any breed. I don't care if the breed is a companion, then it needs to be the best companion. If you're selling something to somebody, I thought that you wanted the best to go out every single time because your name is attached to it. But I guess that's not the standard for everybody. So we know that ain't the standard for exotic Borable, because he just said he tried to get me to define pure, like it was going to be a new definition today. It was going to be a new definition today on July 6th. But that's what happened when you got hidden agendas and shit like that, though, bro. Like, but I think I really want to challenge me, bro. That didn't work out for you the last time you tried it. But yeah, the standard is fine. The show is fine. I'm not saying that the kennel clubs are doing everything the way that they should be doing, because they're definitely not. Because obviously we know there's a lot of paper hanging, and I think a lot of that comes with this and with connections, within there. But I also think that for those of us that see that and complain and want to do something about it, there's nothing stopping you from well, yeah, that's another dog, the dingo, and that's an even better example than the Samurai Uruguayo. But yeah, I think that we just in general, man, you're just being bombarded with the bullshit. You know what I mean? You've just been bombarded with the bullshit, and because it's easier to throw that lie out there. It's easier to be commercial because those standards are already set. So now you got guys trying to jump on top of or jump in front of those standards, and then trying to act like they were already above them or they were here. Look, bro, most of these motherfuckers just started doing this shit through COVID within the last 5 to 10 years. A lot of these guys that are doing a lot of this. Like this dude want to debate me, but if we were to have a debate on general canine knowledge in general, come on, man. General, just biology. Like that's like you're just setting yourself up for failure, man. Because I'm a man, so I understand the male ego. I know I had to get my shit in check many times. But this nigga want to debate a definition. So that means he was going to get on here and try to convince us that pure don't mean what it's supposed, what the definition. That's what he was going to try to get on here to do. To say that we're all dumb. It's like some of those guys with the presses, like that one guy, the dog father or whatever the fuck his name is. Not the guy with the, I'm talking about the presser guy, not the one guy who's been on here, not him. He's talking about he the only person in the world with real presses. They don't even have real presses in the Canary Islands, but he got them over here. But yet, little digging on his dogs revealed that he doesn't. In fact, he has no more of a presser than anybody else over here does. But that was the lie that he continues to tell people every day. But he's got like 200,000 followers on TikTok, and they believe it. Look in the comments. It's the same thing with Jordan. Look, bro. Jordan, when we had that panel, this dude didn't know nothing about me, but he wants to debate me and still don't know nothing about me. That's why I said it's really not even worth my time, because the dude don't even know how to do homework. Like, I can sit there and tell you this shit that he tried to tell Joe to give Joe my number. I mean, give him my number so he could get on the phone with me before that last panel that we did, whatever, the last time y'all saw me. So he could try to figure out if he was smarter than me or to try to get me or sway me to be on his side. But there was no debate. We weren't even having a debate. So the dude already had a hidden agenda. But I'm smarter than some fucking clown. So I told you, don't believe me? Joe can chime in right now and tell you exactly what the hell I told him. I said, bro, I'm not getting on the phone with that dude. I already see what he's trying to do. He's trying to set up. Hell out of here, bro. How you going to debate if you don't even want to use facts? This nigga don't even know you probably don't even know the definition of the word debate. Shit is crazy. Coochie boy. He said, I asked, bro, that boy. Oh, man. What else we got here? Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, if you don't have standards and purity doesn't exist, how did this nigga buy his dogs then? Like, what did he ask for? I'm telling you, boy, hey, these dudes, I don't have to make it up, bro. If you don't believe in purity and standards, how did you even pick a dog? How did you pick the dog that you wanted? Because oh my God, this motherfucker making me sound dumb. If I go into the weed store and I don't know what weed I want, I just give me some weed. But then I leave out the store and then I start calling it something else. And then somebody say, no, that ain't what that is. But I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm all right, well, fuck it. Ain't no such thing as purity. What? Like that. Listen to what I just listen to how stupid what I just said sounds. It's the same thing. You go to a breeder, just give me a dog. Just give me a dog. Just pick a puppy for me. Just throw me one of them bitches. What is it? Oh, you know what? It don't even matter what it is. But then when I get out here, I'm gonna tell people I got burbles. So how do we know you even got burbles then? If purity and standard ain't a thing. I already knew his dumb ass was in here. That's literally why I didn't define the word purity. Yeah, you gotta, that's a tic-tac-toe ass nigga. So, but bro, how do you pick a dog without standards and without how do you do that? How do you know what you're looking for? Bro, how do you pick a woman? How does this dude pick women? They just go up to a girl and just start humping on her. Come on, come here, girl. That's what you do. You just go up to women. Like, she can have all types of problems with her. And he don't care, though. He don't have no standards. So, yeah. It would be, he said, debate on this outcrossing would be used to formulate pure strains, or is it considered a flawed method? No, here's the thing. Why are you outcrossing? That's the whole thing. If you've got a pure dog, I feel like if you're going to go and grab a whole nother breed to bring in, one, at what point are you doing this? How many generations, how many litters, how long has your program been running that you now feel like you have to go and get a whole different dog, right? And then, to me, that just says that you just didn't have enough animals to begin with and you didn't know how to breed properly. Because if you have 4 or 5 unrelated studs that fall under your holotype, or your lectotype, I should say, then you should be okay bringing in good bitches. You got 3 or 4 studs, 5 or 6 bitches. That's more than enough. That's more than enough dogs and bitches that you should never have to do anything like that. The reason you'd have to do something like that is, like we said, when the original materials don't exist anymore. The Boerboel has already been, it's already a dog that has already been restored. So here you got a guy who wants to keep adding to it. So obviously he's not even happy with the dog in itself. So what more are you trying to do to this dog? You want it to be bigger than it already is? So and they're not even talking about the increasing of the health problems. Only thing they're going to want to talk about is the increasing of the size and the size of the ticket when they ask you how much the dog costs, and the size of their follower count. That's all they care about. Come on, man, that dude ain't no real breeder. That dude's a joke, man. Fuck out of here. Like, debate this guy. And so Doug said, if you're outcrossing a different breed, then it's no longer right unless you breed exactly. So, and again, even what Doug said, and then here's the thing: while you're doing that, okay, let's say you, for whatever reason, you do have to do it. We don't even, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter the scenario. For whatever reason, you have to do that, right? At what point can you start selling those dogs again as presses or corsos or whatever the hell they are? Because as soon as you put that new dog in there, they're not that anymore. Not 100. There's no purity anymore. There's no pureness to that dog, to that breed anymore. So at what point are you allowed to go back and say, okay, well now, but it's like Doug said, but they're going to do it on the first breeding. That's the whole thing. They're going to throw a dog in there, breed it, and they're going to call you and give you pick of the litter. They're going to sell 10 pick of the litters. Every litter, every puppy that left out the litter was pick of the litter, including the runt. Because there ain't no such thing as that either. And here's the thing, bro. You know how it's so stupid, bro. We talk about shit, acknowledge shit, and then we let it stay alive, right? We let it stay alive. Like we'll say, Oh, there's no such thing as runt. There's no such thing as pick of the litter. Because how many times have we said to your friends or to yourself that the runt has turned out to be the best dog of the litter? The runt turned into the pick of the litter. So those are just sales gimmicks. It's kind of like with weed, mid grade, high grade, low grade. All that shit is really a sales gimmick. There is no, you have good weed and you have bad weed. But people will gauge cannabis like, oh, it's mid because the THC level was only 19%. Are you stupid? That doesn't make it mid. That just means that that plant can only hold so much THC. Exactly, Doug. So you got this strand, 19%. You grew it to the best of your ability. You're a master grower. But the plant has its limits. That doesn't mean it's trash because it's not as strong as goobity glue. That just means that's a stronger strand. I can take that stronger strand and grow it poorly. So does that mean it's a higher tier strand because of the name? Fuck no. But that's how people think. It's really about you. You can give me the best seeds in the world, but if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm probably going to kill all that stuff. So what did you call that? Low grade? No grade. So we talk about these terms. A lot of this shit we need to just dead and get rid of it. Just stop using it. That's why I thought of this podcast and to do that and to introduce some new terms in. You know, like I said, these are terms that have never been applied in the canine world. It said 10 pups sell pick of the litter. Yeah, I've seen it. I've run into people that went to a kennel and, you know, they ran into each other. And like, yeah, they're both telling each other how they both bought pick of the litter. you both couldn't have bought pick of the litter. How did that happen? No, you and everybody else bought pick of the litter too. These people don't care about you. They don't care about their dogs. They don't have no morals, no values, and they don't have no standards. And they'll sell you a dog that's not pure knowingly. It's one thing for you not to know when to get fucked up. That's happened to me. That's something totally different. But you got guys like that around here buying and breeding purebred dogs and then saying there's no purity or standard, but I'm selling a dog that's got its name from a standard. I mean, it's got its existence from a standard that was created so it could be what it is. Like, bro, I know you try to save face, like I'll debate you, but no. Mm-mm. He said puppy mills aim to increase hybrid and vigor through diversity to improve survivability. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what a mill is. You know, look up the definition of mill. You know what I mean? Like, so, but puppy mills, you know, everything starts off soft. In the beginning, the first puppy mill was nothing like you saw that shit in the 90s, in the early 2000s. That's not how they were. They had standards. They had difference. They had higher level standards. They had the best standards, and then as time went on, and then hey, the demand got higher. I need to produce more dogs, but I'm not trying to pay for all this shit. It's gonna cost me more than I'm gonna make. It's gonna cost me more than I'm gonna make. So I'm gonna breed these females. Every time this bitch comes in the heat, she's gonna drop a litter. And that's what happened. It's the same thing with ferrets. Ferrets were like that. And then they started, that's why you don't see tons of ferrets in pet stores like you used to in the 90s and early 2000s. You're not even supposed to be breeding ferrets in private. You're supposed to have a permit to do that. But it was kind of the same situation, you know, with ferrets, because you had all these people wanting to breed the animals, but it's an animal that if you don't breed it, it'll get sick and it'll start to get all kind of health problems and die unless you spay or neuter it. You either you fix it or you breed it. So because of that, they don't give the public the option to breed. You have to apply for permits and shit like that. I think, guys like Jordan should have to apply for permits and shit like that too. That's how I feel. I've been saying that shit for years, though. I just don't think everybody should own pets, have kids, do all kind of shit, bro. Like, but yeah, Jordan, bro, it's nothing personal, bro. Like I said, I don't know you. I don't want to know you. But yeah, when it comes to animals, bro, you really just need to sit down. I could do a whole show on you. I almost did. I knew you was in there. But we're an hour and 15. I don't really have much. Like I said, this is really a live topic show that I wanted to do. I knew I'd have some morons that I would trigger in here. So I give you guys a little entertainment. But I hope some of y'all took notes, find some of this shit useful. I don't know when or what the next show will be about. I actually do have a live tomorrow on another channel. I don't know what time, but on the Untamed and Unhinged podcast, I'll be on there tomorrow with Amy Benzie, talking to her about the reptile industry and all kind of other exotic animal shit. So you can find me there tomorrow. I'll have that posted in the story. Shout out to Doug, co-producer. Shout out to Joe, producer, of course. Shout out to everybody in the comments, including Jordan, for helping giving me some content, because I really didn't have much to talk about tonight. So it was a good thing you came in. And you're right, though. I am, when it comes to animals, I am passionate, and that's and emotional when it comes to animals. But yeah, I'm sure he's still watching. Probably got his finger in his butt, but yeah, it was great. I didn't have a show, so other than that, we would have been done 37 minutes ago. So what else? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. There is the talks of another talk show in the works, but that's going to take some strategic planning. It's not necessarily going to be an animal based. It's really going to be more like a talk show. So we're trying to figure out how to work that, so that we can make it totally different, like something you've never seen before on social media. Kind of do like Devin said, show them what social media made for. What else? Sell puppies based on. Well, oh yeah, that's another thing. Litters every year. So litters every year. Yeah, you be careful about that as well. You're not giving your animals a break of anything. Not just animals. I mean, not just dogs, cats, horses, whatever. Man, give your shits a break, bro. Like, they working for you. Give them a break. But a lot of these guys don't love their animals, bro. They don't love their animals because this isn't their job. This isn't even their path. They don't even have a little bit of love for this. They just want to be seen, because we all know that any kind of animal will get you attention, from the smallest dog to walking down the street with a zebra. People are going to want to stop and talk to you about your zebra, your dog. You could have a fly on a leash, and some fly enthusiasts will come out and they're going to want to talk to you. These people know that, man. They know that. You see, I just got a leg up on guys like that because I was raised by child psychologists, and I've been a teacher. So I've taught other humans at a real young age. So I understand that kind of mentality that guy has, which is why he can't just sit down and shut the fuck up and learn something. You want to get schooled, but he ain't going to let up even then, because I already schooled him once and here he is again. So he's a glutton for punishment. That's what he likes. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, that's pretty much it for that's pretty much it for tonight. This is probably one of my shortest shows ever. So if you're not already following the Instagram, go follow the Instagram. Make sure you like and subscribe here, NWA podcast as well. If you're not watching that, make sure you're watching that one as well. Yeah, that's it, people. I am all talked out. I'm about to go and have me a drink, smoke me a blunt, and Joe gonna yell at me. We ain't gonna yell at me, but that's what happens when I got my producer going. He gonna yell at me about the show. Everybody give a big shout out to Jordan in this bitch.